Hello, this is a video that I have been putting off for a long time. And it is the discussion about being a solitary or in a coven. Now, both have their advantages, and they do have some disadvantages, but it's something that you need to consider about for your path, your walk. And remember, this is, when I'm saying your path, it's your decision. I'm just giving you advice, okay? I am a solitary practitioner. I live in a small town in rural Iowa, and so finding a coven is hard. The closest known coven that I have is roughly 80, 90 miles away. And, that's a long drive, especially during an Iowa winter. So that was not an option for me. There was a local coven also that was only 20 some miles away from me, and I did some interaction with them, and that didn't work out too well. Conflict of attitudes. I'm kind of a headstrong person, and so my arrogance with somebody else's arrogance, the clash was not pretty. There are CUPS groups out there. That is a chapter of Unitarian Universalist pagans. Now, up to a couple months ago, I was kind of looking down on CUPS groups. You see, when I see Unitarian Universalism, I was thinking Christian churches, and I don't like Christian churches. I have a lot of bad thoughts. I do a lot of research on the Christian churches, and so I'm just thinking, there's something got to be wrong with this. I was wrong, at least from what I have been able to find as of late. I have had some people explain to me that the Unitarian Church, they're not trying to force any form of Christian principles on them, and so that's a wonderful thing. So I would suggest that if you can handle being in a church and there is a CUPS group nearby, maybe you should go to one. I am going to see if there's one in the Council Bluffs area and check them out. Long drive, but that would be a nice neutral site for me. I personally want to be in an open circle. Now, an open circle is somewhat different than a coven. You see, a coven is a closed group with a set hierarchy. You have your high priest or high priestess. You'll have one or two people that heavily assist the high priestess, and then you'll have the rest of the group, usually totaling 13 people. And so that is a great way if you're one of the underlings to learn, because you have a high priestess and usually one or two people that know a lot about a certain path, and you can do a lot of learning. There is the hierarchy, there is a lot of structure, there are rules. And so if you have a hard time with rules, a coven's sometimes not the nicest thing. Also, with a coven, you'll need that for certain traditions. There is the initiation process. Certain paths require you to be initiated in. And so I believe like Gardenian, Alexandrian, and there's a good 20, 30 other paths that I know require you to be initiated in, to be a part of, to be taken on officially. Okay? Now, being I'm almost supposed to talk about solitary. An open circle is different. An open circle has no set hierarchy. It does not have a closed group. You're not, once you're in, you're in. Your freedom to go in and out and interact when you can, when you want to. This is what I like, because then you can have a large group of friends and you can always add to the group. Whereas a coven usually limits itself at 13. An open circle, if you're lucky, you can have 20, 30, 40 people in there. And you guys can meet up at different locations. It's a wonderful thing. Now, a solitary path is one where you're at it alone. You might be lucky, you might know one or two other pagans and you interact with them. But generally, everything you learn, you teach yourself. You do your own self-initiation. This is basically a self-dedication ritual. It's basically you deciding here and here that you want to be a pagan, and that this is the aspect that you want, and thus this is what you're going to follow. Being a solitary, I have my own books. I do a lot of research. I follow the Celtic pathway, and so like right now I'm reading a book about the Druids. A lot of work about the Druids. But you see, like this video, I'm out to teach people, because by teaching people, I'm also teaching myself. I'm expanding my horizons. And a book that I unfortunately started to read is To Ride Silver Broomstick by Silver Ravenwolf. This is a part of my education. Silver Ravenwolf has some mixed reviews. It seems that there are a lot of your very, very young pagans, your teen witches and, early 20s. They love Silver Ravenwolf. They absolutely love her. And you look at like Amazon.com at her books, you'll see that all the people that are going 4-star, 5 stars up and all that, they're these younger people. However, the opposite then happens. You get your older pagans out there, people that have studied paganism for a long period of time. They go and they absolutely cannot stand Silver Ravenwolf because they're seeing things that just don't make sense. Being a solitary means that you have to weed through all the weird stuff and all the good stuff and try to figure it all out. I have been a solitary most of my life as a pagan. I've been lucky. With the internet, I am able to ask questions. I am able to do more research, and I've interacted with some people that have helped me out. Like when I read the review, well, actually I watched a review on YouTube about Silver Ravenwolf, and that's one of the reasons why I'm reading this book. Solitary means that you can also follow your path. You can create it and work with it as you want, what's comfortable for you. And being a solitary gives you a great deal of flexibility. See, like for me, I bought a house this year. Well, last year. And so I have been working very hard on working on the house. And so there are times where I don't have time to sit down and read as much as I'd want to or need to. And so when you're a solitary, you have this flexibility, but you can't fall into this rut. Like when I was working on my garage, I was so busy working on that, trying to get everything done. My pagan life got the back burner really bad. And so solitary is great in so many ways, but it also has the things you got to watch out for. So think about what you want to be. Also think about who you have around you. You can be a part of an online coven, which is nice. I, for one, am a member of a lot of the beginner pagan Wicca groups on Facebook, because then that gives me the chance to interact with people. they'll ask questions. I get to answer them. Sometimes I have to research it. I know a great deal about the Scotch-Irish, Celtic stuff, but my knowledge on the Greek, the Norse, is limited. So this makes me have to go out and learn more. And we have to learn. A lot of solitaries are what we call eclectic. What this means is that they have this very loose fitting path assembled by many, many parts from other beliefs. They might throw a little Celtic in with a little Strega and the Norse and all that. And it works for them. It's unique. But it's a hard thing to do because finding everything that works out, that balances out, is hard. When you're eclectic, you're wanting all this wonderful stuff. And sometimes you forget that you got to have some of the harder, not so wonderful things. So it is a challenge to be a solitary eclectic pagan. But it can also be very rewarding because, like I said, you don't have somebody that is dictating to you, you got to do this, 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 and this. You have the freedom to make it work for you, but you got to make sure you keep it real and not something that's a little way out of right field, if you know what I mean. Okay? Anyway, I rambled on enough about this. Like I said, you're new to your path and you might know of a nearby coven and you're trying to figure out what you want to be. Can you handle rules? Can you listen to somebody and listen to their instructions? Remember, it's kind of like a job, but you don't get paid for it because your high priestess is the boss. Okay? Take care. I'll see you on the next video.